everybody and welcome to my March TBR. In this video I'm going to talk about all the books that I'm planning to read in March. For March I have some very ambitious reading plans and I'm not completely sure how I'm going to manage all of it because I don't know where I'm going to get the time to read all of these books, but I have a lot of books that I want to read this month. I have 2 readathons that I want to participate in, 2 read-alongs that I want to participate in, and 1 very exciting new release. So yeah, I think that is going to be pretty straightforward. So let me just get started with my March TBR and tell you all about the books that I'm planning to read this month, and there are a lot. So let me just start off with the exciting new release because I think you can take a wild guess what it's going to be, and that is of course Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare, the first book in the Lost Hours trilogy. This book is going to be released on March 3rd and that is not very long. Maybe when you're watching this video it's already published, and I'm so very much excited for this one because, as you might know, I am a big Cassandra Clare fan. I love the Shadowhunter books, I love the Shadowhunter world. They are so much fun to read, there are so many characters and interesting stories. But Chain of Gold is a sequel series to the Infernal Devices. It takes place in Edwardian England. It's again all about Shadowhunters. And this series is actually about the children of the characters of the Infernal Devices, so it is a continuation of that, and I'm so excited because of course we're going to see all our beloved characters again from the Infernal Devices, but also their children and what is going to happen next. I'm so excited for the start of a new adventure and a new series, and once I have that book in my hands I'm going to read it straight away. And then for the first readathon that I want to participate in this month, that is actually the Backlist Readathon, which is going to be organized from March 9th until March 15th. This is a readathon that is all about reading books, like backlist books that have been on your TBR forever. And I think it's so nice that this readathon is being organized because I was actually thinking about, making an effort to read some more books that have been on my TBR for very long, because we all know the feeling that you buy books and they sort of disappear on your shelves and it has been years and you still haven't read them yet. And then there's this entire readathon that is all about tackling those books, reading them finally, and I thought it was the perfect opportunity to finally get some of those backlist books off my TBR, read them and hopefully love them. There are a couple of challenges within this readathon. I've picked a book for all of them, even though I don't think I'm going to read, 6 books in 1 week. Yeah, it's 6 books, but I've picked one for everything, so I have options with reading. So yeah, the first challenge is to read the shortest backlist title that you own. And I actually don't own that many short books, but the shortest I could find, which is like a backlist title, is A List of Cages by Robin Rowe. This is a contemporary novel. It's all about a boy named Adam who gets sort of in this program where he mentors a young boy, but this young boy turns out to be his past foster brother, so like a boy who used to be his foster brother. And there is a lot of story and background between those two, and yeah, I know it's also a lot about mental health and important issues. That's basically all I know about the plot. And I got this one I think maybe 2 years ago now, still haven't read it, even though it sounds very interesting, but it's mostly that I just don't read that many contemporaries anymore. But this one is around 300 pages. It's the shortest backlist book that I own, but I think it's perfect to sort of start off the readathon because it's not too long and it's a contemporary, so it's easy to read. And I've heard nothing but good reviews about this book, so that makes me very excited to be finally reading this. And that's why this readathon is so exciting, because I finally sort of push myself to read these books that have been on my TBR for so long, and I cannot wait for it. The next challenge is to read a backlist book that intimidates you, whether it's because it's very big or because it's out of your comfort zone, just because it intimidates you for whatever reason. And for this I have picked the Book of Lost Things by John Connolly. Like, talking about a backlist book, this one has been on my TBR for so long and it has been on so many of my TBRs throughout the years. Still haven't read this yet, so I decided that this is going to be my main priority during this readathon. And the reason why it intimidates me is, because of that, because I have been talking about it for so long and I have very high expectations of it, but somehow I just don't pick it up and it sort of intimidates me and I'm sort of scared to see what I'm going to think of it. And I thought this was just the perfect excuse to finally read this book. It's about a young boy during, I believe it's World War II in England, and his mother dies and then he gets a new stepmother which he doesn't get along with, and because of this he feels very sad and he sort of draws back into his room with all his books and his stories. But he feels like his books and his stories are talking back to him, so it is sort of magical realism, I think, and it's supposed to be very emotional and beautiful. I'm all here for it, and it's going to happen this month. I've said this many times before, so yeah, but this time I really mean it. It's going to be the first book I pick up during the readathon. Then the next prompt is to read a book on your backlist that you added as a recommendation from someone else. For this I have picked Uprooted by Naomi Novik, and this one has been recommended to me like in so many booktube videos, but especially because of Leonie from the book Leo. A couple of years she read it and she really loved this book, and she was like talking about it, how amazing it is. So that's why I picked it up. I believe I actually bought it during a trip with like some fellow Dutch booktubers, and Leonie was also there, so she approved. I'm not completely sure, I think that was the case. But maybe like my memories of book trips are sort of blurring together. But anyway, Uprooted is it was a very popular book on booktube a while ago, but I feel like recently not a lot of people have been talking about it. But when people talked about it, it was usually very positive because it is a fantasy book. It's a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. And yeah, it just does sound very interesting, and I do love beautiful fantasy stories. And also this is just one of my highest backlist books, like one of the books that has been on my TBR the longest. And yeah, I think this is again a good opportunity to finally read it, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to love it. It does sound very beautiful, and I do like fantasy retellings, so it does sound perfect for me. Next up, read a backlist book that you are most excited about to read. And for this one I have picked Circe by Madeline Miller. This is a Greek mythology retelling. It's about Circe, or Kirke, as I sometimes called her. Like, that's how I was taught to pronounce it at Greek in high school, but whatever. I'm just going to call it Circe because that's probably easier within like English videos. But anyway, it's about Circe, who is a sorceress from the Odyssey story. And yeah, this is sort of like a retelling. I'm so excited about this one because I do love Greek mythology retellings so much. And also, like, I bought it, I pre-ordered it before it was even out, and I have this beautiful edition that I'm in love with, but I still haven't read it yet. Definitely a backlist title, but I just know I'm going to love this one because it's so perfect for like what I enjoy reading. And so many people love it, and I'm like, oh, I'm dying to read this one. So that's why this is probably one of the books that I'm most excited about. The next challenge is to read a diverse backlist book, example authors or characters that have disability, mental health, POC, fat rap, LGBTQ+, etc. So diverse books. For this one I'm totally going to cheat because this one is not a backlist book. It is a very diverse book though, and it is one that I want to read this month, and that is King of Crows by Libba Bray. This is the fourth and final book in the Diviner series, and it's definitely not a backlist book because it's like a new release. I only bought it, like I only just received it, but it has been technically on my TBR very long because I have been wanting to read this for very long, so we're just going to throw it in there. And yeah, The King of Crows, this is a series all about, like, it takes place in the 1920s in New York City. It's about a group of young people called diviners, and this group is very diverse because all these people are from different race, different religious, different sexualities. So it's a very diverse group of people. So I think this does qualify with the challenge, even though it is not a backlist book. But I still really want to read it this month and finish this series and see how it's going to end and what is going to happen, and oh, I'm so excited for it. So a little bit of a cheat, but you know, I'm going to be flexible with this one. And for the last challenge, you have to read a backlist book with blue on the cover. And for this I have picked Nora and Kettle by Laura Nicole Taylor, and this is a Peter Pan retelling actually. This was recommended to me so long ago, and it sounded perfect to me because it is historical fiction, but it's also, I believe, a little bit magical. I'm not sure. It does take place shortly after World War II, and it is sort of a Peter Pan retelling. It's about Nora and Kettle who become like unlikely friends from different backgrounds. Again, that's all I know, but it does definitely have blue on the cover. So yeah, this fits again the challenge perfectly. But again, I don't know if I'm going to read 6 books in 1 week. But anyway, if I don't manage to read it during the specific week of the readathon, I will probably try to read it anyway in March. So wish me luck. Then next up, the 2 read-alongs that I'm participating in. First of all, the Hunger Games read-along, and this month I'm going to read Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. So this one is pretty basic. It's reading the entire Hunger Games series, 1 book a month. I read the Hunger Games in February, really loved my reread so much. I was planning to read Catching Fire sooner, but somehow it did end up being a book for March anyway, so I'm still continuing with the read along. Love the Hunger Games series, don't have much to say about it apart from that. I'm really excited for the prequel coming out, so this is again the perfect preparation for that. And then I also want to participate in the Elderlingalong, which is a read along for all the books of Robin Hobb, who I've never read anything by before, so this is the perfect opportunity. Elderlingalong also sounds so funny, but anyway, in March it is the plan to read Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, so the first book in a trilogy that I don't know the name of. You can tell that I'm so prepared for these TBR videos, but this is the first book in a trilogy and the first book that's going to be read with this read along, and I've never read anything by her before, which I mentioned before. So I'm very excited because I do love fantasy, so this sounded like a perfect opportunity to sort of join in. I don't know anything about the plot, like literally nothing apart from that it's fantasy, so this is going to be very interesting, I guess. Wish me luck, but I do really like the cover. Like, don't you just love this medieval aesthetic for a cover? Like, I'm absolutely here for it. And then for the final readathon I'm participating in, I want to participate in the Bookie Trials Royal Weekender. So the Bookie Trials is like a readathon organized by my friend Rachel over at Rachel Marie's Book Journey. I will leave links to all the information of like all the readathons and read-alongs down below in the description box. She has done a couple of readathons in the past, which I haven't participated in, but this time I wanted to because on the 28th and the 29th of March there's going to be like a royal weekender, so a weekend long readathon, which I love. I love readathons that are like during the weekend to read a lot in a short amount of time. There's also an entire personality test which you can check like in which team you belong. I did that and apparently I'm an outlaw, so I'm now in the outlaw like team. And you can collect badges with different sorts of challenges. So yeah, I've done that. I've picked a couple of books for the weekender, royal weekender. There are a couple of badges for everybody. One is to make a TBR, so I'm doing that right now. So that's one badge earned, and apart from that you can earn the badges during the readathon itself. And then for the outlaw badges specifically, the first one is Tomb Raider to reread a favorite. And I'm going to combine this book with another badge, which is Band of Misfits, a book with multiple POVs. Because it is only just one weekend, so I want to sort of see if I can combine some challenges. But for these two, I'm going to reread Waking Gods by Sylvain Neuvel. This was one of my favorite books of last year. It's the second book in the Sleeping Giant series or the Thames Files series. It's a sci-fi book all about the concept of like that there's this girl who once found a very huge hand, and this hand is part of a sort of bigger robot, and they try to collect it and find out what it does. It's like there's a whole lot more to it, and it's told in the form of files, so that's why it's POV, multiple POVs, because you read files from different people, like different journal entries, and so yeah, I think it counts as that. And of course it is a retelling of one of my favorites, so I'm going to listen to this one on audiobook, because I reread Sleeping Giants on audiobook a little while ago. So I listened to the first one, but then after that suddenly the second and third book were removed from my audiobook library without warning, so I couldn't listen to those two, which made me very sad because I wanted to complete my audiobook reread. But now I finally found the solution, because I'm doing a free trial month at audiobooks.com, which is, as the name probably suggests, a audiobook subscription service. And in the first month with the free trial you get 2 free audiobooks, which is so nice because that way I can reread Waking Gods and also the third book, Only Human. So I am so happy that I can finally listen to 2 of my favorite books and finish my audiobook reread. If you are also interested in a free trial at audiobooks.com, you can use my link down below in the description box, because as I mentioned, you get 2 free books you can choose from, and they have a huge library, so basically it's all the books you can imagine. And even if you don't end up wanting a subscription out of it, you still get 2 free books, so I would definitely say that it's worth the tryout, and I'm very happy that I can finally listen to some of my favorites again. So yeah, very excited for this reread. And then my final book of my TBR is for a badge called Natural Survivors, a book with mud, trees, plants, or whatever nature based on the cover. So it is a bit of a stretch, but I'm going to read The Land of Yesterday by K.A. Reynolds, and as you can maybe see, there are some leaves over here, some branches. So, you know, it's not like overwhelmingly on the cover, but I think it counts. This is a middle grade novel about a young girl who loses her little brother and he goes to the land of yesterday, and then her mother goes to there as well to find her little brother. So it's sort of magical and everything, very vague, but it does sound beautiful, and also it is short, so I'm sure I can finish it during the span of a weekend readathon. And then after this one, yeah, I don't have any specific books for this readathon, but I'm sure I have some leftover books on the rest of my TBR that I haven't managed to read yet at this point. So I'm just going to see what I haven't read during that time. So yeah, I'm just going to sort of improvise it at the time apart from these two books. Okay, so this was it for my very long and very ambitious March TBR. I'm so excited about all of these readathons and read-alongs because I really do think they motivate me to read more or read specific books that I otherwise wouldn't have picked up yet. But wish me luck, wish me all the strength. It's going to be interesting. I probably won't read all of them because, you know, I only have so much time to read, but I'm going to try anyway. And yeah, this was it for this video. And yeah, if you like this video, please go subscribe or maybe give it a thumbs up. Please let me know down in the comments on a book that you are planning to read in March. I would love to know. And then hopefully I will see you again very soon in my next video. Bye!